Good morning. All right. So I'm going to start off with asking all of us, including myself, these two questions. Are we living a complete life? And are we maximizing ourselves? Right? So remember these two phrases, complete life and maximizing. When we hear somebody passing away at the age of, say, 85 or 90, we say that he or she lived a full life, right? So we somehow compare the fullness of life with number of years lived. So let's not use the term full. We can use the term complete life. I'm guessing that everybody wants to live a complete life, right? We want to maximize our human potential. But we know that it's not easy, right? Life can be unpredictable. It can throw you twists and turns, ups and downs, circumstances can change, situations can change. So the question is, will we still be able to live a complete life despite all these things? I have a few suggestions. First is, let's assume that we all have a fast forward button, and I'll call it the fast forward technique. So imagine that you have a fast forward button that you can press and go to your future. Once you go to your future, imagine that you are able to meet with your future self. And from your future self's perspective, look back at your life that you have led and see if your future self is happy or not happy with the kind of life that you have led. Right? So as you do it often enough, you realize that your job becomes to please that future self. So in other words, your future self is the boss and your present self is the employee who is supposed to please that boss by leading a complete life today. In my case, I think the first time I pressed that fast forward button was when I was about 20. And at that time, I felt that in order for me to take the first step towards the complete life was to experience the experiences. So I actually wanted to venture out there, meet new people, be in a different culture, enjoy different food, be in a different environment. So I actually wanted to go to the US. And I'll be very frank with you. I didn't go there to pursue any specific career goals or make X amount of dollars or live American dream. I just went there to experience the experiences. We are not rich, but I managed to get the assistantship and, I enrolled myself into Masters of Computer Science and Electrical Engineering, became a semiconductor engineer. I still am a semiconductor engineer, so I still work in semiconductor industry. Pursued another master's in business and technology a few years later, worked in some great semiconductor companies and lived there for 20 years. And in that time, I actually got to experience all the experiences that I wanted to experience. So I think, it's important that all of us use this fast forward technique and talk to the future self and try to assess our life's quality, whether it's complete or not, from future self's point of view. Now, we said that, our future self is the boss, right? And our present self is the employee trying to please that boss. So how does the present self do it? I think to start with, we have to look within and look at our own qualities. I think everybody of us is just a bundle of great qualities. You have to identify them yourself. You could be kind, you could be gentle, you could be loving, you could care for people, you could be a great communicator, you could feel for things, you could be moved by things. All these are great qualities. And what you have to do is you have to use those qualities as your strengths and build a platform. There could be qualities that you may want to acquire, like discipline or persistence. But the idea is to build our quality platform and use them as strengths and build our complete life on that. Now, this is a big one, right? Don't look for validation from others. We live in a world that is constantly looking for validation every day. From the moment we get up to the moment we sleep, especially with social media, we are constantly seeking likes and views and comments, right? I mean, earlier people used to go on vacations and, enjoy the places and look at the views. Nowadays we go there, we click the pictures, We upload them on social media and look for likes while we are on vacation. Earlier, people used to go to restaurants and enjoy good food. Now we go to the restaurants, click the pictures, upload them on social media, and look for likes while we are eating the food. And reels, right? Every possible human action is now converted into reels nowadays. I may not be able to dance, but I'm going to gather 10 more people who are not able to dance, and all of us are going to put a reel of our dance every day on social media. One of my friends works for tourism industry, and she told me that people call her to book tours, but the first question they ask is, are there spots where we can make reels? Because they have to make those reels, get them on social media, and they get the likes. Only then their trip is complete, right? But let's not do that, right? For our own qualities, we are the best ones to know ourselves. So let's not look for validation from other people. Many years ago, I read this really good book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway by Susan Jeffers. Something that she wrote in there has stayed with me. What she says is, you have to look at your life as a set of boxes, set of equal sized, many boxes. And those boxes are different for different people. It could be your education, your career, money in the bank, hobbies, travel, health, etc., etc. But the important thing is that there have to be many boxes and they have to be of equal size. So that means that you're going to give equal importance to all the areas of your life. Unfortunately, we often see that a lot of people, their life gets defined by only one or two boxes, whether it's their career or their family life. But let's not do it to ourselves, right? Let's look at our life as many boxes of equal size. In my case, while I was doing my engineering in US, I noticed that I was missing boxes from my life. So I looked within, and I found that one thing I liked was books, and so hence storytelling. So I decided to start writing. I also believe that apart from creating boxes, we have to tick those boxes every day. What that means is that from the moment you get up to the moment you sleep, you have to work in all those areas every day, right? So in my case, I created a box. At that time, it was hobby. But I realized that I had to tick that box every day. So every day after coming back from work, I would lock myself in a room and just start writing. I also believe that apart from creating the boxes, ticking the boxes, we have to maximize ourselves in those boxes. So you have to give 100% in as many boxes as possible. So if you are giving your 100% your career box, you have to give 100% in other boxes as well. Because remember, they're all equal size boxes. So in my case, I kept writing, and obviously nobody was reading what I was writing, but I wrote it for myself. And but in process, what it did was it sort of sharpened my writing skills. I also got books that taught how to write. I ended up working with a director friend of mine in US. And when we moved to India, I still work with a very famous writer and director here in the city. And in 2015, I wrote my first novella. It's called Border Post 99, No Man's Land. It's based on a Pakistani soldier and an Indian soldier stuck in a no man's land. It's actually based on something my grandfather had told me. He was in army. So again, goes back to my childhood. We ended up, I became a co-writer of this movie called Praveen Tambe. And then we ended up writing a web series during pandemic called Scam 2003, The Telgi Story. It was based on Abdul Karim Telgi and the stamp paper scam. And good thing is that a couple of months ago, we won a Filmfare Award for it for Best Screenplay. So what I mean to say is that we have to not only create the boxes, tick the boxes, but we have to also maximize ourselves in those boxes. Now, although we say that, different boxes, for different people it's different boxes, but I think some boxes are universal boxes. I think relationship box is a universal box. A complete life cannot be just about yourself. It has to be about people around you, right? Their dreams, their aspirations, their goals are as important as your goals. So you have to make sure that you are happy with them, they are happy with you. You have to be a good father, a good husband, good wife, good aunt, good neighbor, good friend, and make sure that, people around you are taken care of. So I think this relationship box is important from a complete life point of view. Another box I believe should be universal is giving back to society. Because A complete life cannot be a selfish life. You have to, come out of that bubble and do things for other people, for planet, for environment, for society, whatever the cause that you believe in. In my case, while I was, pursuing my engineering and pursuing my writing, I noticed that I was missing this box. So I looked within myself and found out that I'm a history buff. I'm a history buff. So when we moved back to India, we started visiting the forts. These are all ancient, many centuries old heritage places and forts around where we live. For people who are not from this region, if you do a Google search, you will find hundreds of these forts on mountain tops around where we live. So we started visiting these forts, and so I had created a box and I was ticking the box, but I was not really doing anything with it. I was merely going there, clicking pictures, loading them on social media and looking for likes. But soon enough, I observed that there was a problem of trash or garbage at those heritage places. So one fine day, about 8 years ago, we just picked up some garbage bags from, before leaving, and we collected trash from one of the major forts here. And then that continued. Every month we would go to a fort and we would collect garbage. This is the current situation of our forts and heritage places. And I'll give you some examples. There's a fort called Rajgarh. We collected 50 kg sacks of trash from 1/3 of the fort. There's a fort called Shivneri. We collected almost a truckload of trash from that fort. There's a fort called Pratapgarh. There's an ocean of trash there. There's a fort called Lohagarh. The amount of liquor bottles we collected from there could fill up a room. There's a fort called Sinhagarh. Every 15 feet, we found a different brand of liquor. The kind of trash that we picked there is plastic bags, plastic wrappers, gutka, pan supari, chips packets, liquor bottles, diapers, sanitary napkins, you name it, it's there. So we collect it with our own hands, we bring it back. So we have been doing it for the last 8 years every month. This particular activity or any kind of social activity has three aspects to it, right? Volunteering, awareness, and government. As I said, we have been doing it for 8 years every month. And volunteering has tremendous power because we are collecting the trash with our own hands. So we can talk about it. Secondly, when we go to those places, when people watch us, parents show their kids that, hey, look, these guys are picking the trash. So please don't throw the trash. So I think, what we can expect is that even if they don't pick it up, at least they won't throw it, right? Then we used our social media and then we reached out. Then mainstream media covered our work multiple number of times. All the major newspapers covered our work over multiple years. Radio channels interviewed us many number of times. Again, the goal was to reach using these media outlets to as many people as possible to spread the message. And I also go to schools and colleges and talk to, and also to societies and to companies, and I talk about it because I think the message needs to go out there to protect our heritage and protect our foods. And we call these sessions the trash talk. So it's a pun. So we have named our group the Trash Talk Group. And then, the third leg, like I said, working with the government, because it's important that for any social activity to succeed, especially with our heritage and foods, our government departments own it. So for the last 2 years, I've been working closely with all the top IS officers, whether it's tourism, forest department, archaeology, and I'm in constant touch with them. And we have actually found some really good ground level solutions. And we are still working on it. But a few results coming out of that is one of the major forts was declared as plastic free when they created a checkpoint there. Or they recently passed a law against consuming liquor on foods. Then the government institute cleaned a number of foods last year and this year. But the high point was reached last year when India submitted or applied for the UNESCO World Heritage status for 12 of our forts. And I was fortunate enough to work in the group that prepared for the UNESCO team's visit to the forts. We also, when we talk to people, we also try to get to the bottom of why this is happening, right? Because that's important. We also try to ask people what they think. The irony is that our heroes from the history are revered and respected and loved, but the places where the history happened, we have turned them into garbage dumps. Historical movies, as you know, they are making millions, right? But the places where the history happened, we have turned them into dumpsters. So that's the irony. We further reach down and find out why. Are we not taught history properly? Are we not taught local history properly? Are we not taught about the heritage preservation properly? Or do I not see any heritage or history around me? I mean, this city is supposed to be a historical city, but all I see is this, right? Anyway, going back to our point, I think so. Giving back to society, I think, is an essential box for a complete life. We also go to this remote village a couple of hours from here, and we talk to kids and we teach kids there, because we found out that that particular area has a lot of problems in terms of education, water, health. So it's important for people like us from urban areas to go and talk to people and expand their horizons. Apart from the giving back to society, I think this box should be also a universal box, thankfulness. Because we all keep talking about, our future plan, I want to do this, I want to do that. But I think it's important that we are thankful today, at this moment. If you are waking up, every morning, if you have food on your plate, if you have a roof over your head, there are a lot of reasons why you should be thankful. So I think every day you just have to sort of spread your arms and thank the universe or thank God, whatever you believe in, that, you have the life that you have. So thankfulness is an essential box of, according to me, for a complete life. So in the end, I think I would say that although we said in the beginning that life is full of ups and downs and twists and turns, I think we should still be able to lead a complete life. Because if you remember a fast forward technique, I think your future self, the boss, will be happy if your present self is able to lead a complete life despite all the ups and downs and twists and turns, right? So I urge all of you to lead a complete life, despite the age or the stage of life at which you are, because life is waiting for all of us. Thank you.